This is vegetable tan leather. Vegetable tan leather is different from chrome tan. Chrome tan is a chemical process of tanning leather, and vegetable tan behaves in an entirely different way. You can shape vegetable tan leather by soaking it in warm water, pressing it round moulds. It will hold its shape when it's dried out pretty well. Chrome tan leather won't do that. So vegetable tan leather comes in different thicknesses. A bit like our own skin, it's not uniform all over our body. You can see something like this. It's pretty thick, and I would use that for making shoes. For the sole of a shoe, good thickness. It's probably coming on for near to 5 mil. This one here, it's about a 2 mil, and the one down here, I think it's a 2.2 to a 2.6, maybe 2.8, and I'm going to use some of this one to make the pouch part, because I want it to be fairly heavy. I want it to hold its shape afterwards, and that's what I'll be using. So vegetable tan is what you want. This particular type is sometimes called russet. The first thing we have to do is to make a template which we can then transfer to the leather so that we can cut out the shape of the piece of the leather that we want. Now we have what we call sacrificial leather, which is leather that will be cut away and not used, but it is essential for the pressing process. So the leather extends from there down the side and comes right out to these black marks here. But when the piece has been pressed, the leather will be cut back to about there for the stitch line, and this part of the leather will be discarded. It's essential for the pressing process. So if I take half the first measurement, which will come in from here and come out to this black line, we're looking at about 8.5, which gives us a total line across the top of our pouch, which will be 17. It's the same down here. If I come down here 6 centimeters and we measure from here, we're going to need about the same, about 17 across. So 6 centimeters down, and we're still across here at 17 centimeters. Coming out 45 degrees from that, we are going to need about 8.5 centimeters coming out this way too. 8.5 and 8.5 this way. Coming straight down the middle, I would think probably 9. So that gives us some measurements to work with, and I can now transfer those measurements to scale onto a piece of cardboard, which will enable me to draw around it on the leather. We don't start marking the leather until we're absolutely sure what we want to do and what size piece we need. Leather is expensive stuff. We don't go near it until we're ready to. Here we can see that I've got the bit of leather cut out, and the first thing we notice is that I've put a whole lot of little nicks cut out round the side, and we can see them there. And this is to help with the easement around the round part of the mould, and that's the leather has to be bent round there, and we can get puckering if it's not able to be eased. So that's what we've got there. We also have a selection of tools. See that I've got some clamps, I've got a small hammer, I've got a stapler, and in here I've got a couple of copper tacks. If you're tacking leather, do not use iron with wet leather. It will mark it, it will make it go black. Very important thing to realize. So I'll be putting the leather into the warm water for 5 minutes. Might take it out after 4 depending how floppy it is, and then we'll progress to shape it. We can see that the leather is fizzing away there. This is just quite normal for it to fizz away as it absorbs water and becomes softened in the warm water. I've set the timer is actually on go. No, the timer is not on go. But the leather has now been in for 5 minutes, and I'm going to withdraw it, and I will start shaping the leather around the mould. Just going to dry it off a little bit with the towel. Position it roughly where we want, pretty much where we want it, centered. We'll start working from this end here. I'm going to put a little tack in, just down here. And by the way, having short nails is good because it stops you marking the leather. The tack is a temporary thing that's gone in there, and I'm going to start shaping this down, and I'm pushing it down around the form. You can see it's very pliant. It's going in quite well. I'm not quite central there, so I've got plenty of time. Just move it over a little bit. And there we are, more central. It's just to hold it. Shape it down around, pushing in, pushing in, pushing in, and then begin to shape round there. As you can see, it's going down around there. At this stage, I'd be inclined to push it in as tight as I can up at this end, and probably put on the edge of it a staple. Not too far in, but put a staple in about there. So we can work this down. We're working it down, working it down. You can see it's starting to comply with the mould. It's starting to comply. You can see there, we're getting there. It doesn't take terribly long if you've done your work right, your preparation. There we are. It's pretty well there now. It's taken up the shape. Very quick. Don't be rushed with it. You've got plenty of time. We take this, put it on top, press it down over it like that, and just force it down, and then you can see it's pretty good. It's taking it up pretty well. Got plenty of room here for sacrificial, which will be cut away. You put that over the top, press it down. We have, of course, in making the mould, left room for the leather to come up in between. And I'm now going to put the clamp on. So I'll put a clamp on there, tighten it up. Do the same on the other side. Tighten it down pretty tight. We might want to be a little bit further up this end. Just a little bit more this way. Put another one on there. and another one, probably that one will do, just on there. The copper tack has served its purpose. You can withdraw it. As you see, I can actually smooth that little hole a little bit, and I can almost get rid of it. It can be almost closed up. It's going to be covered by the flap anyway, so it won't be seen. But wet leather is remarkable stuff. You can get rid of some of the nail marks you might have made with your fingernails. Don't worry about that too much at this stage. And there we are, we're clamped, and that will be left. I would leave that for about 24 hours. Then I would unclamp it and we'll go from there. It's now 24 hours later, and I'm going to remove the clamps on the one that I made yesterday. And there we are, we can see the pressed piece there, and it's nicely defined. There are no pucker marks. And over on the right, one that I made earlier, and I've cut away round it, and this is what I referred to as the sacrificial leather, the part that we need for pressing, its waste. But here we have the other piece, and that now needs to dry, fully dry, for 24 hours, maybe a couple of days even. It needs to be really dry before we can start to work on it and make a pouch. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and can go on to make some materials yourself. Leather is a wonderful material to work with. If you want to give me some feedback, through tinderbox.co.nz. Name is Richard Lees, and I hope you look forward to seeing more of my videos.